Breaking news, an officer shot, another one injured. We have team coverage in Citrus Heights. Good evening. I'm Chris Reva. KCRA 3 reports at 5 o'clock and high definition starts now.
This is KCRA 3 reports at 5 in high definition, where the news comes first.
Yeah, it just sounded like 3 gunshots, just boom, boom, small pause, another one, and then pretty instantly there was a siren. It sounded pretty close.
Witness reaction today. Breaking news, 2 officers are injured, 1 shot in Citrus Heights. The shooting happened before 3 o'clock this afternoon on Holly Springs Court in Citrus Heights. KCRA 3's Tom Duhane live on the scene with the details. Tom?
And we just had a briefing from Citrus Heights Police just ended about 2 minutes ago. And what we're told is that Citrus Heights Police responded at 2:30 today to a domestic disturbance. They encountered a drunk man outside of an apartment complex. We'll take a look at where this occurred. It was back inside an apartment complex on Holly Springs Court here in Citrus Heights. The actual area is far back out of view, but you can see some yellow tape back there. According to Citrus Heights Police, there was some sort of a confrontation in which the suspect was shot dead, a female officer shot in the right leg, and a male officer who was with her, also from Citrus Heights Police, had an injury, a blunt trauma injury to the head. All 3 were taken to Mercy Hospital, and we understand now that the suspect did pass away and that the 2 officers are now in stable condition. Now, these shots rang out about 2:20 to 2:30, and here's what eyewitnesses in the area told us.
I heard about 3 gunshots, and then instantly there was a couple of sirens. So I don't know. I saw they had brought a lady police officer, it looked like, out on a stretcher with her leg bandaged up, but she seemed to be all right.
A cop came out with a wound on her leg, and then one with a wrapping around his head. And
so 2 different cops?
Yeah. And then,
were they sheriffs, you know?
I don't even know. They were just regular cops, I guess. And then another dude came out on the stretcher or whatever, and I guess he was dead. I don't know.
And we're back live now, as you see units and officers with the Citrus Heights Police Department continuing their investigation. There was, by the way, a huge turnout here. We had Sacramento Sheriffs, Sacramento City Police, CHP, all assisting in this situation. The Citrus Heights Police cannot tell us exactly how this unfolded. They can't tell us whether or not the suspect who was shot and killed actually had a gun or how the female officer was shot. We're all told that both officers are both veterans of the force, a long time in the police business, and that they're both expected to survive their wounds. That's the latest in Citrus Heights. Tom Duhane, KCRA 3 reports.
All right, Tom, we appreciate it. Now we continue with team coverage as this officer-involved shooting. KCRA 3's Kevin Riggs is live at Mercy San Juan. So, Kevin, do we know the conditions of those officers at this point?
Of course, I can tell you Mercy San Juan Hospital is releasing absolutely no information about the condition of those 2 injured officers. However, we do have fresh information we just obtained from Citrus Heights Police, which we can pass on to you. I just talked to Sergeant Gary Hendricks from Citrus Heights Police. He tells me that, in his words, the 2 injured officers are doing good. He says they are doing well. They are in surgery right now, or are being treated at this point for their injuries. As we know, the female officer received some sort of a gunshot wound, and the male officer received some sort of a trauma from a blunt blow to the head. Again, Sergeant Gary Hendricks tells us that both officers are in treatment right now, and he says they are doing well. They are expected to recover. He also tells us that family members have been notified. Family members are here. They, of course, are, as you might expect, very relieved with the news that neither one of these injuries are considered to be life-threatening. So, once again, according to Citrus Heights Police here at the scene at the hospital, we are told that the 2 officers are being treated for their injuries right now, and they are expected to fully recover. Live in Citrus Heights, Kevin Riggs, KCRA 3 reports.
Happened before the shooting began. In the meantime, Citrus Heights investigators are still out here tonight along Bremen Drive. They'll be here most of the evening. They're still collecting evidence and talking to witnesses. In the upper center of the screen, you'll see an investigator placing yellow evidence markers. That's the narrow pathway where the struggle and shooting happened. And this apartment on Caven Drive is where neighbors say it all started, beginning with an argument between the suspect, his ex-wife, and teenage son who were visiting.
They fight for quite some time, but it's been ramping up the last couple weeks.
You can hear him hollering.
Yeah.
And you could hear a bang, bang, bang. Like, yeah, and from what I heard was he was banging his head against the wall.
Later, they saw the teenager out front.
I seen him out here crying. And I just assumed that it was because the parents were fighting and he was upset.
The ex-wife called police and they responded to the dispute.
Upon arrival, the officers reported being out with an intoxicated, belligerent male, and within seconds later, the officers reported being involved in a fight, and moments after that, reported shots fired.
A neighbor looked through this fence and saw a female officer shot in the leg, a male officer with a head wound, and the suspect on the ground apparently dead. The officers were rushed to Mercy San Juan Hospital.
Both officers are expected to make a full recovery, and they're doing well. They're being treated for their injuries at this time.
Meanwhile, neighbors tonight described the dead man as solitary, with a distinct Russian accent, who worked as a nurse at the Eschaton Care Center. And back live now. The good news tonight is that the officers are being released this evening to go back home. The names of the officers and the person involved in the shooting, the suspect, are not being released. One curious note tonight is that Citrus Heights police are not explaining how the female officer, who was 43 years old and a 5-year veteran, how she was shot in the left leg. They are not saying whether the suspect had a gun or whether or not they recovered a gun. So what happened in that small walkway is still a mystery. In Citrus Heights, Tom Duhane, KCRA 3.